the barn be looking so good. You get all your VR6s. You got your boosted VR6, your NA 12 valve, and a 3.2. Can't go wrong. So yesterday, the VR6 Turbo Wagon came back to us. Now, engine-wise, it's running amazing. But unfortunately, the clutch they put in the car is a factory VR6 clutch. It cannot obviously hold the power. So that's one issue. And number two, whatever they did when they did the clutch in this car, the steering in this car now is horrible. If you watched yesterday's video, when I put an input in the steering wheel, like I turn it left or right, it takes like a full second or so before it actually like registers in the car and actually makes that input on the steering. I don't know what happened, but it feels awful. So today, take the car to the hobby shop, put it up on the lift, and just go over the bumps of the car and to see if anything's loose or missing or what's going on, because like the car feels super sketchy right now. It hasn't rained at all today. I come outside to start my video, and not 5 minutes later, I just can't drive this car in nice weather. Yesterday it was pouring, today it's already raining, so I don't know what it is. Shall we hit ourselves a nice cold start this morning? It's actually quite cold, it's like 49 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and let the car run for a minute and then we'll head out. All right, we should be good to go. Car is idling nice and smooth. Idling right at the 14.9, 15.1 range, which is perfect. Like I said, mechanically wise with the engine, it's great. It's just the steering and obviously the clutch is just can't hold the power, but we'll get it sorted out. So yesterday I was saying it felt really weird that the clutch pedal was so stiff in this car, because I thought they took out his 4-putt clutch and took out the upgraded pressure plate, but it turns out they actually left the upgraded pressure plate in, which makes no sense because they said the clutch you got was wrong, but it came in a kit and the pressure plate works. Why wouldn't the clutch work? It just makes, I don't know, it's just weird, but that's why the clutch pedal feels so stiff still. This thing makes all the good sounds though. And then it's just all clutch, unfortunately, but we'll fix that. Still sounds good though. Man, it is instant, no hold. I still can't believe they put a base clutch in this car. It just makes no sense to me. And then yeah, this steering, I'm going straight. This steering's awful. And when I turn, look at this. Look how, oh, it's so terrifying. Like all of this section is just dead. There's just nothing happening. Like from like there all the way to there, there's just, look at this. Nothing's happening. Look at this. Ain't nothing happening. Thinking about it now, I hope they have a lift open. I probably should have called ahead, but it's like midday Friday, so we should have some bays open. All right, what do we got? Steven's here. All the bay doors are closed. Why is that? Is that because it's raining or it's cold? Are they closed? They're not closed today, it's Friday. Are they closed? What's going on? All right, so thankfully they had all the bay doors closed just because it was cold and raining. So bay number 2 is ours. Let's get this girl up on the lift and see what's going on. All right, let's see what we got going on down here. I don't see anything like out of order just yet, but I'm gonna go through and nut and bolt check all the sway bar bushings, the subframe itself. The rack looks fine. Oh, that looks kind of loose. You see that? How it's out a little bit? Let's see if you can tell from here or not. Kind of hard to see, but this bolt right here, this 13 with my finger, that one is backed out just a little bit. So check all the bolts to the rack there. I'm gonna go through and check all the bolts to the sway bar, the tie rods, the ball joints, all that kind of stuff. But besides that one bolt right there, I don't really see anything inherently wrong, but oh, that one too was a little bit loose. So maybe it's just the rack got loose. Oh, the boot there is torn too, if you can see that. The inner boot on the rack is torn, but that would make it feel awful like it feels. So let's go through and just bolt check everything real fast. and then we'll go from there and see what we find. Let's do a quick check in the back. They shouldn't touch anything back here, but just to make sure. This all looks good to go, I believe. I'll check it just to make sure, but first glance looks okay. And I actually learned, so obviously this car's a synchro. You can see the subframe back here and obviously the rear diff. I want to make my car a 4Motion car, but if you use the 4Motion rear subframe, you have to do like custom controllers, all that kind of stuff. I learned I can use a synchro rear subframe and fit the Hall decks right here inside the synchro. So it's like a perfect fit to a Mark III, and then I won't need like crazy control arms, like custom, all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. Other than that, it looks to be all good back here. So check this out. This one here in the front, I can move with just my hand. So yeah, that one is extremely loose. And then this one over here, with just a tiny bit of force, moves. So I'm hoping these being as, let me, that's crazy loose for your steering rack. So I'm hoping when I tighten all these down, that gets a lot of that play out of there and makes the steering feel much better. I was gonna go through and check every other subframe bolt and everything else on here, but obviously that's a big issue. Oh wow, look at that. All right, that's all I needed to see. Yeah.
No wheel bearing.
No, it's the rack.
Yeah.
They left the bolts. They left the bolts loose.
Nice.
And the whole thing's shaking.
The bushings in there all still good?
Yeah, bushings look good. This boot's blowing out over here, but yeah, all 4 bolts are loose and the whole thing's just shaking. Yeah, like hand tight loose. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, so there's a nut on top. Looks like they just put the bottom one through and didn't hold the top one. Oh man. Well, you saw it firsthand. The rack is literally shaking back and forth. So I'm hoping once I tighten all these down, that should fix our steering issue, because that's unacceptable, honestly. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I cannot believe they let the car leave the shop like this. Like, legitimately could have crashed the car so easily. Like, I drove so slow yesterday and it was still sketchy. That's unacceptable. I just sent Steve the video of all that. I'm not sure what he's gonna do, but all I know is if I got my car back like this and they put a random clutch on my car, threw my other clutch, gave me not tightened steering rack bolts, would have caused an absolute scene. All right, so before I go ahead and tighten these back down, I'll lower the car down, straighten the steering wheel and straighten the wheels back out, and then hopefully that fixes our issue with our steering, and hopefully I don't find any other crazy loose bolts. There's also a lot of like oil residue through here. Looks like the drain bolt's leaking, and maybe from right there. So we'll address that after I fix this nonsense. All right, steering wheel is straight. We've got our wheels straight on both sides. So now we'll take her back up, tighten them down, and hopefully no more issues. All right, so we got the front one here tight, this front one tight, the back one over there tight, but this one just kept spinning, and I look above and there's no bolt head there. And you can see over here, there's a bolt head with a nut that hold it down, but on this side, there is no bolt head and no nut. So I'm pretty sure this one is snapped clean off on top. All right, so this back bolt here, I couldn't get to come out, but I was able to get it to tighten up a little bit. I do want to replace the entire bolt and put a new nut on top, but at least so it's tight right now, and all 4 of them are nice and tight, so much better than before. I moved this fitting right here from the for the drain line forward and tightened it back down, cleaned the oil pan off, cleaned this off. The ball joints on this side and this side were both a little bit loose, so tightened those down. Sway bar end links were good, subframe bolts were good, so I think we should have a way better feeling car now. All right, so good sign number 1, our steering wheel is sitting nice and straight, and just driving the parking lot back to this spot, it already feels so much better. So put on the GoPro hat real fast, head home, and hopefully we're all good. The clouds over there look crazy. Well, I can't tell on camera, but like all this down here is moving so fast. That looks so cool. All right, so our wheel is still a bit crooked, you can see, but when I turn the wheel, the car actually responds. So that is so much better. I have to remind myself that this car is on stock struts with springs and doesn't have like a sway bar like my car, so it's not gonna feel exactly like my car, but it already feels like, look at this, when I turn the car actually responds and turns. So definitely way better already. So the car's not pulling left or right, so I might have to pull the steering wheel off and just realign it, and then we should be good to go. I gotta say, power wise, I love how this car feels. Now granted, right now it can't hold the power at all, but like you have that nice low end like VR torque, and then as soon as you touch the gas just a little bit, you feel it start to pull, and then oh the best of both worlds. You got a VR6 and a turbo. I cannot wait till I swap the clutch and this car can hold power and we can do some actual like full pulse in this thing, because it's going to be ridiculous. Surprisingly enough, in second gear, when I, not full throttle, but like maybe 60%, it seems to hold decent, but third and fourth, not a chance. Third and fourth gear, you just hear the clutch going, whoa, and just nothing holds. But second gear is fun for a second. Shall we do it again? I think we shall. I think we shall. This will be third gear. Oh my god, that'll never get old. That feeling and that sound will never get old. And also on that one, that third gear, it seemed to hold for a second, probably because it's still very, very cold. I haven't driven very far yet. Once it warms up, it's done, but you can get a couple half decent hits on it so far. I love this dang thing, and it feels good again. I can actually steer, thank goodness. The clutch. If you drive it at like barely tapping boost, it'll hold, but the second it starts making like close to 12 pounds, game over. Yeah, fourth gear, no chance. So for right now, second gear and third gear, you can kind of be on it until about 3,500, a little before 4,000, and it still holds. Fourth gear, 3,500, and it blows the clutch out. But for now, it is what it is. Like I said, we will have, he's looking at clutches right now to order for this car. So if this clutch gets beat up a little bit, which it's not, but if it did, it's not a big deal. It's coming out anyways, doesn't matter. We're gonna put some beefy boy in there that can hold some power and have some fun with this car, because man, I have the itch, man. I just want to stand on it so bad, but I know not good to do so, but I wish I could. I sure wish I could. Oh, and also on my street, they decided to take out like 2 inches of concrete, so now there's this gnarly dip right here. So stupid. Dumb. Give the neighbors a little whootadoosh. This thing really is so much fun to drive. We haven't even touched boosts yet, or like any actual power, and it's still so much fun. You have the VR6 plus the spinny boy. It's awesome. Not that I don't love Miley, and I love my NA VR6, but like the turbo, just that little little cherry on top, you know what I'm saying? So our steering issue is good to go now. I still want to get some new bolts and fix that for sure. But now everything's tight. The car feels so much better to drive now. The rest of the bolts down there are all good to go, which is very, very nice. Up next, once Steve orders the clutch, we'll get that fixed and figured out. And then we can actually do some full pulls in this car and really see how much power this thing can make. All I know, by the time this car leaves in December and heads back to Steve, this thing will be one sorted machine and it's going to be an absolute monster. So that'll be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Do not forget to be thankful for every single day. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Hey, I was doing just fine before I met you.